Salam and hello everybody. In this video I share my weekly meal prep. So a week of meals that I prepare in one day, and I share the full recipes for them. So I hope you find it useful. So I start off by writing a list of all the meals I'm going to make and for what day. And the first thing I made was a cheese, onion and mushroom quiche. My eldest has been asking for this, so I thought I'd make it for like a lunchtime on the weekend. So first of all, I make the base for the quiche, and I'm just mixing the dough together. I'll write the ingredients in the description in case you missed them on screen. So I'm just mixing the flour and everything else together to make a dough. And then I'm flouring a work surface to roll the dough out on. And I'm just rolling it out big enough to fit into a round baking tin. So I was just checking the size, making sure it's big enough, and then greasing the baking tin. And then putting the base of the quiche into that tin. Then just cutting off any excess. We don't want no excess in this quiche, no we don't. And then doing a pretty forked edge, you know. And then I'm making the filling for the quiche. So first of all, I'm using a small onion, peeling and slicing that as best I can. And to soften the onion, I put it into a microwavable bowl, add in some cold water and then heat it up for about a minute. Yeah, that softens the onion up, gets rid of the strong onion smell. And just put it aside to add to the quiche. And then I'm adding some mushrooms in. You can add whatever, broccoli would be nice, some sweet corn. So I've added in the grated cheddar cheese, the mushrooms, the onions, and then an egg and some coarse black pepper. You don't really need to add salt because the cheese has a lot of salt. And then just mix that all together and put it into the quiche case or base. And then just to top, lightly whisk an egg and then roughly put it over the quiche, if that makes sense. Yeah, so that's all ready. So I just covered it in foil and then popped it into the freezer to use the following weekend. And then I marinated some chicken legs to make tandoori chicken for the following day. So first of all, you need to put some slits into the chicken legs, preferably with skin because it tastes nicer. So just add in all the ingredients that are on screen into a large mixing bowl. And by the way, at the end of this video, you'll see me having made all the meals, so you'll know what they look like once they're cooked. But anyway, add in all the ingredients, give it a good old mix. And you'll need the juice from 2 lemons. Ayub was helping me, as you can see. Such a helpful young man, mashallah. And then coat the chicken legs in the marinade. Cover that with some cling film and then that goes in the fridge, ideally overnight or for at least 24 hours. And then I prepared the 2 curries that I usually make when I'm doing my bulk meal prep. So this amount of onions, etc. is so I'm just peeling everything, and I'm going to chop it in the mini chopper, the little food chopper. So add in about half a cup of sunflower oil, or less if you wish to a large pan, and then add in the onions. I have to do it in 2 lots because it's a mini chopper, so I can't fit too much in there, so I do it twice. And then just saute the onions and everything else that's in that mix, so the ginger and garlic, and then whatever you're going to add to each curry, just put it onto a separate plate and chop everything up. So I was going to add the aubergine and tomatoes to the chicken niblet curry, mixed peppers and tomatoes to the lamb curry. There's all the ingredients nice and ready to go into our curries. And here's the spices and salt. And then there's the chicken niblets for one curry and the lamb for the other. And what I do, I just split the onion mixture between the 2 pans, so they've both got an equal amount. So then I'm sorting out the lamb curry first, adding the spices, the veg and tomatoes, adding the lamb. And just mix everything together. And it's cooking on like a medium-ish heat. Do the same thing with the chicken. So the spices and salt, the veg. Then the niblets. Give it a good old stir. And then once they come to the boil, add in some water. So yeah, like it said, about 400 mils. I've got a giant piece of pepper in there. I don't know if you spotted that, but I did take it out and chop it up afterwards. And the same with the chicken niblet curry. Once they come to the boil, really easy. Turn them both down. Pop the pan lids on, and then usually I leave them for about half an hour. And that's them looking nice and ready and cooked, mashallah. And I'm just putting them in some pots, ready to go in the freezer later on that day. And then I prepare the sauce for the chicken, broccoli and mushroom pasta. So the onion, garlic, ginger, etc. again. Pop it in the little processor. Give it a good old chop. And then some broccoli. Chop up your broccoli. And your mushrooms. And your chicken breast. So just chop it into smallish chunks. And the pasta sauce is really easy to make. So got some oil in the pan, add in the chicken breast chunks, and then cook them till they're no longer pink and kind of dry off the water. And then add in the spices and salt. Give that a good old stir. And then the onions and garlic, ginger, chili. Give that a good old stir as well. Go on. And then once that's cooked a little bit, add in the broccoli, the mushrooms. Cook that off a little bit. Add in the sweet corn until everything's nice and soft. And then 500 grams of passata. Stir that in. I literally just bring it to the boil. cook it for less than a minute and turn it off, because when I'm going to use it, I'll be reheating it anyway. And finally, I make the chicken biryani, which we tend to eat on the day that I make it. So these are the onions and stuff that I put in. There's my trusted chopper again. Where would I be without it? Not very far. And then some potatoes and tomatoes, peeled and chopped. Then these are all the spices and salt that I add, which are quite a bit more than a normal curry, but that's how you get that wonderful flavour and aroma. So yeah, you need lots of oil, and add in the onions and stuff, and then at the same time I'm soaking the rice. And then add in the tomatoes, potatoes, the chicken. Give it a good old stir. Allow that to cook for a little while, like 5 minutes. Add in the yogurt and then give that a few more minutes to cook, come to the boil, and then add in some water. You can adjust the amounts, but this amount kind of works for us. I make this every week pretty much. So yeah, once it comes to the boil, leave it cooking for about 45 minutes. And then I add in the soaked drained rice, add in some boiled water, bring it to the boil again, and then I turn it down, cook it for like 12 minutes, and then turn the heat off and leave it on the hob, cooking in its residual heat for like another 10-15 minutes, and then I served up, and it was delicious, mashallah. So there's all the freezer meals ready to go in the freezer. I finished off Sunday night with a tea and a cupcake, as you do. And then I'm just showing you me. And we'll have the chicken legs with some chips or roast potatoes and some veg. And then the next day we had some rice with the lamb and pepper curry. And then the day after that we had the pasta with the chicken, broccoli and mushroom sauce that I made. So I cooked the pasta on the day that I'm going to use it and then just mix it with the sauce that I'd frozen. And then we had the chicken niblet and aubergine curry. I did plan on making chapatis that day, but I didn't think I had time, so I just made rice. And then I think Saturday lunchtime we had the quiche, which was really tasty. I need to make that again, mashallah. Looks lovely. And there's it served up with some chips and some random fish fingers. Anyway, I hope you found this useful. Thank you so much for watching. Inshallah, see you soon. Salam. Bye.